Welcome to the Industry Show. I'm your host, Nitin Bajaj, and joining me today is Vinisha Rathod. Vinisha, welcome on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you here. Let's start with who is Vinisha?
I love this question. So I was really trying to figure out what is the Venetia, both personally and professionally. I think I'm someone that has finally found the sweet spot between being really content but not complacent with my life. So I found the sweet spot in how I can commercialize my skill set and still contribute to what I care about. And because of got rid of all the crappy layers of insecurity and never feeling enough or thinking you have to chase these stupid things, I've actually been able to spearhead my life a lot better, surround myself with wonderful people, and actually enjoy. So I actually have consistently beautiful experiences. So I'm a person that is aligned, says what she thinks, is super present, and I think I found that thing that everyone talks about, like even if I had $10 million in my bank, I would be right here, right now. So it's like peaceful, but still wanting to do a lot of stuff. And very, very vocal, as you can see. Does that help?
Okay. And I love how you said it, content but not complacent.
Yeah.
That's an amazing motto to have.
Yeah.
Now, as we get to learn more about you,
Hmm.
let's talk a little more about what is P3 Studio,
Yeah.
why did you start it, and where are things right now?
Yeah, so P3 Studio stands for People, Purpose, and Partnerships. So it's my own business. And so I partner with people to deliver on your purpose. And so, what does that mean and what do I actually do? So, I build great places to work. So that means, so I've got a background from Ernest and Young, Boston Consulting Group, and worked with many other companies where I worked at the intersection of people and business. So I say how many commercial decisions are based on human bias and the human condition rather than what is commercially sound. So I saw that gap in the market. And for me, when we talk about that sweet spot about being not complacent, but content and seeing, okay, what is the bigger picture that companies and what can they do to our society? So I saw if I can help build great companies to work based on my skill set on people, culture, leadership, alignment, education and training, org design, right people, right roles, founder branding. So getting really clear and having, imagine more people were content and not complacent and consistently wanted to have great experiences for themselves and for others. And so I saw the impact that businesses have in our society. So smart companies that want to build great cultures with A players, they hire the best over bias. So smart companies that look at talent, they don't care about your background, they don't care about your gender, they don't care what school you go to, they're looking for A grade talent.
Mhm.
And so A players want to work with other A players. They don't care about the misogynistic. They don't care about closed-mindedness and holding on to things unnecessarily. They want to grow. And that has a direct commercial benefit. So I see that smart companies reduce the wealth and equality gap, which is something I really deeply care about. And in turn, that also reduces domestic violence. And I link it because for me, what I've witnessed, what I've seen is that a lot of the reasons that people stay in relationships is lack of access to money and community.
Mhm.
And that's what workplaces can give you. And so for me, I have found the sweet spot that if I can empower companies to be operating in a more smarter way, there's a direct commercial benefit, but there's a direct societal benefit. And so that's why I created this business because I came from big companies going into smaller ones. And a lot of the training that I got from there and my natural skill set, I think could really help build great places to work, but they don't have to have that not being able to have access to those bigger companies, they can have access to someone like me, which can bring that learning in and then help be more efficient because no one says they want to work in a shitty culture. Like everyone is like, so sometimes you can keep really great people. It's not money that drives everyone. But if you can harness the best out of people, they're your eyes and ears of the business. And I think businesses move faster than government and many others. So for me, the change that I can see and the future solutions that are being developed in our society is through companies. And so why not have the best and have a better commercial outcome and help society in the same time. So that's kind of why I built it. And it also being what was really lovely is when you go out on your own, you're not tied to anyone. So I really use my platform for purpose. I talk a lot of things. I MC a lot of events. I don't have to vet and check if it's okay with anyone because it's literally just representing myself and my views. So I'm really passionate about addressing the domestic violence and linking things like that. And I'm really passionate about underrepresented founders as well. So if that helps, that's probably why I created the business and what I do.
That's awesome. And I'm so happy that you do what you do because it shows you love it, you bring that passion. And when you have passion, you make it so much easier for other people to find out what their purpose is and stick to it. So, really happy that you are you and you do
Thank
what you do. You bring
you.
joy, energy, and life to everything around you. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. That's really kind. That's really kind.
Now, in doing what you do, it's often, I would imagine, pushing people in a good way into places they probably don't want to go
Yeah.
because they're maybe choosing comfort over reality or purpose or many other things. Uh, See, I'm sure there's a lot of people issues that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
But if I had to, amongst the many things that you have to deal with, if I had to ask you to call out the one big challenge you're facing, what would that be?
Yeah. So in terms of me personally with a business, I think it's saying no. So a lot of people in the startup and in the worlds that we operate with this very community and creatives and stuff, I think there's a lot of people that want to spend time with you to pick your brain and wonder how you build your networks. And as someone that wants to help everyone, I have to learn how to mitigate your time, right? And I go, I want to say yes to everything all the time. I get invited to so many things. And then I'm like, wait, I need to do that. I need to focus on this. I need to. So I think it's really taking my own advice on focus, which is what I tell a lot of founders to really do. Anyone that's building their business is just that real focus. And I think that's why for me, reducing wealth inequality gap, domestic violence, and also saying how does that link to the bigger picture, there's a lot of people that also waste your time, a lot of people that don't actually take action. This is why I don't do one-to-one therapy because I just don't have time for it. And I get really frustrated when people don't change. So if people don't want to take action, I have very low tolerance, which is why I do more B2B than B2C. So sorry, B2B, business to business rather than business to consumer. One of my few B2C products is I do a lot of founder personal branding or personal branding. And the way I view personal branding is how does the best version of yourself partner with the world? And how do you harness that? And that's really knowing yourself quite well. And then I have a bit of a framework around it. So it's literally saying no, because I know what I can do is helpful. And a lot of the people that want to help don't always have the funds or the means or the time to do it. So I think that's my biggest challenge.
But you found the challenge and you're addressing it, which is amazing, which takes me to my next question, which is
Yes.
with challenges come opportunities.
Yeah.
And what's the one that you're most excited about?
So there is a really interesting opportunity that I'm very excited about. We're about to have, I just looked at the Bank of America at this, but we're about to undergo the largest wealth transfer that's about to go to women. And when I was sitting on a women's group the other night, they were saying we want more women as limited partners in funds.
Mhm.
And I think so Australia has a really strict rule that you have to earn over 250,000 to be considered as a sophisticated investor. But the problem is when I worked in corporate, I didn't know how bad the funding gap was for women and diverse founders because the pool stays within a certain group. And so a lot of people who want to give back, tend to go to charities. Nothing wrong with that. But for me, I see the impact is through businesses. And until you know how bad the situation is, you don't know that you can be part of the change. So if you know that you're not the type of person to build a business or you can add a lot of value in other ways, I would love to really harness the people that are about to receive the wealth transfer to be like, this is how you can help and give back. So Australia is about to have 3.5 trillion intergenerational wealth transfer. According to Bank of America, because I just took that estimates close to 100 trillion of the 124 trillion transfer will go to women, with 47 trillion shifting to women in younger generations. And 54 trillion going to surviving spouses. So 95% of them are expected to be women. So the thing with that is that they're going to have access to capital. So a lot of the events, a lot of the things that we focus on are like women need more confidence and blah, blah. When I read the report, they were just saying, we want to go to more events where we're educated and empowered to learn how we can be part of the change. And so my big thing is women just think differently, and that's perfectly fine. A lot more cautious with our money. We want to know where things go. Money is a language and it's power and it helps. And so if I can get and help with all these people who want to do good and want to and help the world and look at different, they want different things at the end and they look at different success factors, then I want more of them in the room and that shift the power dynamic. Because to me, the way I see businesses, when I do my talks, I said, look, I can't change people who think small. Like I can't
Mhm.
change people who want to keep things the same way. So if you are an engineer and you only give me two options on where I can work, here or here, um, and I don't want to build a business. I can't build a business. I don't have the money to, or whatever, or I'm not a business-minded person, but I want to work for someone that's good. If you only give me these two options, my energy is going to this because I need money to live, right? I need to build my career. But if you give me a third option, and they're a great culture, they're doing the right thing, this is where people will go. But if you do not build an alternative, things will remain the
Mhm.
same. So for me, I always go, okay, well, build better. And if I can help you build with the networks I've formed with my skill set, help me, like I can do that. But if you do not have the ability to build, this is not going to change anything. And there are people crying for it, right?
Yeah.
A players do not want to work with dickheads. Like that's
Mhm.
just the truth. Sorry, I like to swear. Um, they just don't. So the truth is like if you can help build better, and I can get advantage of this and educate these people into more empowering spaces, that's I think one of the biggest kind of opportunities I see in the market.
Love that. And those statistics are wild. Like
Yeah, I'm gonna
95%.
send it to you
Wow.
because I'm like,
Now,
yeah.
as we look forward, I want to pause and reflect and ask you to share two moments from your previous life. One where things did not work out as you'd expected. There was failure, there were lessons, and another instance where things exceeded your own expectations and there was success beyond your imagination.
Yeah, I was gonna like joke around this one, but I was like, a failure. It does divorce count? Because that was pretty traumatic. That was there's a lot learned there. I won't go into the details. Let's just say it was a very traumatic experience. They don't tell you a lot of things when you're in that world. But can I share too? Because it's going to reflect, I mean, of the
Yeah.
success, because I think it will reflect of that experience.
Mm.
So, in a couple of, so let me tell you about, okay, so I entered the tech industry about 3 years ago. So I was in super corporate land and I entered into the tech startup creative world 3 years ago. And I've completely turned my life around and so much so that I'm writing a book on it, right? And that's the other thing I'm really proud of. But before I enter the book, like I literally run around with a briefcase. You can see it.
Mm.
And the briefcase is my handbag. And I bought it when I entered into tech 3 years ago because I need a new laptop cover. And I saw a guy on the bus with a briefcase and half a liter of milk. Interesting, but anyway. And I said, "Oh, Mom, I want a briefcase because it reminds me of Dad." So my father passed away about 15 years ago from cancer within 4 months. And so just when I finished university. And so I had a career trajectory one way, but then I had to stay home and look after the family because unfortunately, even when something like that's happening, someone needs to cook, someone needs to clean, someone needs to keep the house going so they can have care over dad. So I was doing that. So my career so I put everything on hold and I went a very different way in my career. And being able to then come back and find where my sweet spot is or where I'm able to deliver impact, but still use my skill set, work with really smart people. And the briefcase became it was in loving memory of dad because tech felt like science fiction to me, which is what I grew up with. He was an accountant by trade, but but he loved science fiction. And the tech world reminded me of that. And so I just wanted a briefcase to remind me of dad. And we bought one, and it's dad's birthday on the code. So,
Mhm.
and then I started taking it with me to events because I was trying to learn the tech world, right? So 6 months after I started in 20, so August 2022 is when I bought it, and it exploded. Like it became this big thing. Because and I think what's really fun is like it's a symbol of capitalism,
Mhm.
is usually only by men. And here is this young, brown, dynamic, fashionable lady with crazy nails, hair, things, running around with a briefcase, which is like I'm not dishonoring the original function of it, but I'm making newness and lightness with it. And I became known as a startup fairy, like so randomly. And then I had to come up with a new definition because,
Mhm.
telling your father passed away story, it's really sad. So I said, because he passed away at 50, so it was a complete tragedy. And so I was started making another story, and I was like, there's venture capital money, there's thoughts and prayers, which is what our prime minister said at the time. And there's secrets to sustainably scaling your business. So, with that, I was only been in the ecosystem for 2.5 years. I started building my brand. For the other business, I had nothing, and unconsciously started building myself up, finding myself in a world where a person like me, which is probably very neurospicy, was accepted. And it was just so nice. And people wanted to hear what I had to say, which I never had in my entire life. And I was able to turn around my life. If you saw, I just posted on my socials what I was 5 years ago to where I am. Like
Mhm.
it's just a complete turnaround. And so much so, it brings me to my second point. I do these personal one-to-one founder branding sessions, or, operator branding sessions, like just getting really clear, what are you good at? What do you care about? And how does that drive that? And so the same way I would pitch myself, like I build great companies because I know the bigger impact it has on our society. That consistency, I started to write a book about it. And I only decided end of December when my friend is like, you should write what you do. Because I would sit with someone for about 3, 4 hours, give them a 20-page document and be like, go be the best version of yourself. I
Mhm.
don't want people dependent on me. Like I said, I don't do one-to-ones very well. So I get angry when people don't change, but at least let me give you and support with what I did.
Mhm.
And then my friend's like, you gotta write a book about it. So end of December, I decided. And I was like, you know what? First manuscript, mid-Feb. I'll be fine. Australia falls asleep for like 2 months, right? It's annoying. But anyway. And so I did. Oh my God, there's so much work to writing a book. No idea. Oh my God. Anyway, it's in the process. I've had 2 rounds of edits. It's now with my friends being read for testimonials and people I know. It will be out finalized in the next 2 weeks. Online version will be out mid-June, and the hard copy out in July. And that was within like a couple of months. So I'm really surprised and excited that I was able to do it. And I think it's because of ignorance. I did not realize how much work it is to write a book. And I was like, oh my God, it's too much work, but I'm glad I did it because I want everyone to live the best version of themselves, right? Because it actually has such a ripple effect on our society, and you actually enjoy life more. Being content and at peace does not mean you become complacent. It actually means you can turbocharge and get more done. Like I couldn't have written this book if I was surrounding the surroundings that I had 5 years ago. I could not write it like this. So I think that's the impact and power you have when you shed all the crap
Mhm.
and literally at like the best version, that you can just do so much more. It's a very long answer, sorry, to your question.
No, this is jewels, pearls of wisdom. Love it. The more pearls, the better, the more valuable. So keep it coming. Now,
Thank you. Thank you.
you enjoy life, as they say, you're high on life. But
Yeah.
if I had to ask you, what do you do to de-stress? Or
Yeah.
I don't even know if you ever do this, but if you had to kind of step off of the treadmill, what do you do?
Yeah, I go to the beach. So I live a bus ride away from the beach. That's what I'm going to be doing actually right now after this. I'm at my friend's place. I find the oceans really relaxing for me. I reach out to friends. I have a very beautiful community around me. I'm always doing really random stuff that makes me laugh. whether it's R&B trivia or going, so I'm aging now. We're going to a dance party next weekend that starts at 3 p.m., finishes at 8 p.m., like a nightclub. But the daytime, I get tired. So I want to dance to old school music. Want to have fun. But I want to get into my age. I go to a lot of tech festivals and stuff, so I speak at a lot of things, which I actually really enjoy. So it's been really great to be able to integrate what I love and do and how I show up in such an aligned way that I'm able to inject a lot of fun. But I think I write it in the book of like, how do you kind of bring yourself back? And it's like, yeah, the beach is one, going out to nature, and walks are disconnecting. My Instagram algorithms are so on point that they make, like, I love reels that make me laugh. So I love if I can just, if I need to laugh. Do that. But yeah, I try and catch myself when I need to take a break. But I think not for fun, but what I do, but I'm really focused on preventative health.
Mhm.
So I exercise 4 or 5 times a week. I have a therapist now once a quarter. So I don't need to see him every 2 weeks anymore. It's now once a quarter. I had a human behavior coach. I do acupuncture.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of things to maneuver around me to make sure that I don't spiral. I don't know about you, Nathan, but I'm in a lot of people that should be in a mental asylum. Like a lot of people are not okay right now.
Yeah.
Like they're not. And I think I just surround myself, not in an unhealthy bubble way, but really with people who
Mhm.
are empowered and want to enjoy their life and have worked on their stuff and continue to do so and refuse to be a victim by their own circumstances. And I don't disregard people who are in survival mode or very, very different circumstances to me. But, I know that I've definitely risen above a lot of things that maybe should have been maybe very small and it didn't. And there's plenty of other people who are like that. So I really literally hang out with A players, B players. They're so busy waiting and
Mhm.
pouncing on you to hurt you. I mean, just a quick example. I was an MC for a women's event with a VC fund at an incubator. And a man wait 45 minutes. Like I had all these women, they were amazing. And a man wait 45 minutes to tell me, like, you were a great MC, like so confident, but like too confident. And I'm like looking at
Wow.
him like, what? You waited 45 minutes to tell me this? Like, really? An A player doesn't do that. People who are busy building stuff, they'd be like, you're amazing, you're great, hug or high five, whatever. Great. I'm going. I'm building. I don't have time to wait around to put you down because that's what
Yeah.
B and C players do.
Yeah.
A player people don't do that because they don't have that in their mind to bring you down. They're too busy trying to bring themselves up. And when you surround yourself with people like that, you just those people stand out so much because you just surround yourself with these people. I didn't
Mhm.
even know it was possible. And I think unknowingly all my life I've had that. All my life I've had people, but now I'm in the entrepreneurial world, it's also getting people like that who think like that. Instead of putting you down, I had a girlfriend that was like, let me help you build your website with you. That's the support you need as a founder of a business or anyone that's trying to grow anything. You need people in a realistic way that are like, you've got this. And I'm gonna have a book shower, because why should baby showers have all the fun?
I love
Shower.
that.
It's like, how they're like, oh, what's the size of the baby? I'm gonna have that and be like, what do you think the size of the book is with the string? I just have fun. Like, is what I'm telling people is like when you are at such a good place, you actually enjoy your life every day. The moments of joy every day. I don't live in like La La Land, but you actually enjoy your life. I have so many people that want to come to the book shower. The theme is hot librarians and I just want to have a good time. Like you don't have to even buy my book right then and there. I don't care. The book launch is different. This is a book shower. And I want to just celebrate with people who are like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Let's just have fun.
Love
Anyway,
that.
that's a lot of the things I do for fun. It's a lot. Yeah, yeah. I
It's a
dopamine hack
long
my life.
list, and I'm happy it is. Now, talking about books, I'd love to ask you to share a book or a podcast recommendation.
Yeah. Super Communicators, I
Hmm.
read recently. Have you read that?
I have. Well, I've
Yeah.
heard it because I don't read.
Yeah, 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 that's right. So good. My God, the way that you can read people, I think it was very validating for me because there's a lot of
Mhm,
things I do on there that I didn't know was a skill set, like at all, which is very nice. But even the way that you can read people and understand who do I work with them, do I partner with them,
mhm,
and just really clever. I thought it was just a very clever book that I read recently that I was like, so practical but thought provoking, and you can use it in your everyday life. And I think the way that I even talk about in my book about how does your essence, the best version of you, so the briefcase effect is the name of the
mhm,
book, subtitled TBC, I'm still figuring it
mhm,
out, but the brief, how do you partner with the world with the essence? So sort of like heart on your sleeve, essence on your sleeve.
mhm,
And I tested that when I came to America, and it works, right? Because when you have the best version of you out in the open, it's actually a repellent for
mhm,
people who don't vibe with that, who are the B and C players, because they can't stand to be around it.
mhm.
Because it casts the shadow on their incompetence
Yes.
and their insecurity, right? And so as you're growing in that, I think and the super communicators has that way of really finding those nuggets.
Mhm,
But because I'm already living that, I know other people can, that you naturally repel people and then attract people who are amazing and they want to be around you, male or female, it doesn't matter, or binary, non-binary, like it doesn't matter. Like they don't care. Like A players are literally A players,
mhm.
and you surround yourself with people like that. And the super communicators highlights how you can bring that in a very another way. But I just thought that was a really fun book.
It was. Well, thanks for sharing that. Now,
Yeah.
on to my favorite part of the show, which we call the one-line life lessons.
I
And I know
know.
you have several, so
I have
I'd love for you
several.
to share yours with us.
Okay. I have six, but like one's made up. It's like a little bit more. Um, you
Always the
laugh.
overachiever. Yeah, sure.
Overachievers plus chats a lot. Okay. A few one-liners. Number one, what if you wore the best version of yourself on your sleeve and partnered with the world than against it? So imagine if you could live like that, where you don't have to wait till you go on a holiday in Santorini to feel like you can actually enjoy your life. Like you can enjoy it in mini moments. So that's the one liner. Number two, I mean, contradictory to that, but also interesting. Everyone is fighting a battle. Like I think if we could just be a little bit more compassionate with each other and just know, like, even if someone is bumping you or hurting you or doing something, like everyone, even the most accomplished white guy, which you put on the pedestal of the most least, going through the worst, everyone is fighting something. Like if you can, because I think that's been so game changing for me, is that when you come from that place of compassion, you don't judge, but you don't have to save either. I think this is what I'm caveating, is that you just go, okay, that's where they're at. Like, just everyone is fighting a battle. Everyone is trying to live on this earth just as much as you are. And I've had different starting points. And so just let people just come from more compassion, that don't think because they have more money than you, or they have a bit of family than you, or they have this than you, that they're not have internal battles. Everyone does, and you just never know when someone's mum has been diagnosed with cancer, or someone's just found out some other awful news, or I think that's something I really live by, to give just a bit more kindness to each other. The third one is it's not about you. It's like one of my favorite lines when I use with the briefcase. And I think it's when you find the fire in your soul, and you find the fire of this, I'm really good at it. I can commercialize my skill set because it drives what I care about. When I work with people on, I don't have the courage to do this, I don't want to speak, I don't want to do that, I don't want to do whatever it is, right? I don't want to go for that job, I don't want to ask for that thing. I always say it's not about you. It's about the bigger picture of what you're trying to deliver. So for me, like people ask, like, what is the thing that you want to do? And I said, I want to live in a society in terms of work where no one will ever be sexually abused at work. And there's no such thing as gender pay gap. And I can't do that if you stay stagnant. And if this is why I want to empower more people to start businesses and create the change that you want to see in the world. So if I tell people it's not about you, like get over your own bull crap, get over your own insecurities, get over whatever is holding you back, get out of that toxic relationship, get out of the toxic workplace if you can, and go for what you're meant to deliver on. And so it's not about you, it's about what you are meant to be doing, if that makes sense. And so that it gets you out of your own head and go like, just build it. Like you never know what could happen, right? So it's not about you. So if I always think and I look at my friends' children and I go, I'm doing it for them. I look at every single kid as I'm doing it for you. I don't want anyone to ever experience what I've experienced. And so that's one of my big lines. Another one, I talk about this in the book about timeless skills, about even if you don't know what you want to do in your life, have one of these things as I just think it's really, really good etiquette. And I think lost. Always, so this is the line, always give credit when it's due, even if they're not in the room. I think it is such a beautiful trait. I think a lot of people, I don't know if you've experienced this, Nathan, but a lot of people forget where they get the source of a connection, a business thing, an opportunity. They forget the original source of where they came from. And then sometimes they might get, more successful and think it was all them. And they start paying attention to the bigger things rather than the people who were the first believers that were there or the people that opened the door for you. I never ever forget when my boss, when I was an executive assistant, she says, why don't you become a consultant? And I said, what the fuck is that? Because I didn't grow up with that world, right? I lost dad young. Mum was married to dad at 16. It was just, I didn't grow up with anyone woman financially empowered around me. I didn't grow up with any business stuff. I did not know, right? And it was until my boss said that to me that it like shook my world that I had even potential. They didn't wait for a diversity program. A players find A players, right? And so I will always credit her and I'll always credit how I got into the tech ecosystem. I remember when things have been opened for me and people who remembered me, even when they're not in the room. And I think that is such a beautiful trait that you can carry for the rest of your life because you realize that community and people are so important to open the doors for you. Never forget the people who did that. So, I have this obsession with a vegetable. So it's called I love leek. That's my line. I love leek. Obsessed with leeks. I didn't grow up with them, but I just discovered them quite a few years ago. And I think they're the Portugal of Europe. Everyone goes to the bigger companies like France and Spain and Italy and Greece and they get all the highlight, but Portugal gets left aside. But I don't know if you've all been to Portugal. Beautiful. And I feel like Portugal is like leek. Like leek is so underestimated, but it's so tasty. So I'm in a global campaign. I have a WhatsApp group called the Leek Lovers Society, and I want people to recognize how great leeks are. And then I've been able to create an Instagram group, and British leeks commented, and they're into leeks too. So, and my one liner is "I love leek." So, and then sorry, I really do. I laugh so much when I was writing it. And then I have one more. I don't know if we're allowed to swear, but I'm going to swear anyway. And I think this resonates with our South Asian audience. Karma is a bitch. So if you think you can shortcut things and hurt people and dodge things and act in an unethical way, I mean, anyone who does crosses me or crosses anything that, like, they get it instantaneously. I've seen them suffer immensely. But, you suffer in your own mind. Anyone who wants to hurt others is already hurting. And if you really think you're going to get away with it, just don't. Like, you really don't. So anyone who hurts others is already hurting in their mind. So that's also that goes back to that thing that everyone is fighting a battle, but I don't need to save them and I don't need to make excuses for it because I know something will go back. So I go build better, go do better, go show up better, go show up differently. And that's how I've tried to conduct my life. Like I can't change it, but just know like it's coming. That's it.
Love that. Vinisha, thank you so much. You know, I love your energy, but what I love most is that you are uninhibited, right? Because you found that purpose, you found that intersection of who you are and who you want to be. And that's what we need more of. So thank you so much for sharing your journey and story and your life lessons. And more kudos to you. Congratulations on the upcoming book. Super excited to hear
Thank
it.
you.
And
Yes, I'll have an audio of it for
yes,
sure. For sure. I appreciate you having me and to all of you listening, thank you. Time is the most beautiful gift. So I really appreciate it.